Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. We are going to do a top 5. I know that the thing said that it was going to be a top 10, but because there are 5 of us up here, we didn't want to hold you for like 3 hours. So we're going to just do a top 5, and these are our go-to games if we're going to be teaching a game to a new player or a new group of players. These are the ones that we would go to first off before hitting anything else. So we're not talking about, right. Brian, I swear.
I'm out of the frame, sorry.
He's an attention hog. He just has to cause trouble everywhere he goes.
Can you just put my chair in front of the camera?
No, yeah, you could. I mean, you want to sit in front of everybody else? That's fine. That's good.
Sorry.
All right, so these are our panelists. We have, first of all, Mr. Brian Drake.
Hey.
And he has had some shows up here, so you know who he is. He's a magician extraordinaire, modestly calls his own show the Brian Drake Show.
And there's 2 people in the show, too.
I know. I don't understand. It could be, hey, it's Brian
like the name
part of the
that
night, but no, it's
Brian,
the Brian Drake Show. Yeah, so he is a Dice Tower contributor, so that is, his claim to semi-fame. He is an all-around cool dude, and he knows it. And he randomly flicks cards at people, so
I do that.
Be careful, because he'll just flick a whole deck of cards at you, and then he'll walk away and make you pick it up.
With your
so
wallet.
It's not fun. Next, we have Melanie Barr.
I paid them for this.
I know, right? She actually told us a couple days ago. I told everybody just yell really loud. So it's awesome. She's
Can we do it a little louder?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, good job.
Much better.
What was the comedian that used to do this all the time? He used to say, no, please, stop. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Andrew Dice. That's your thinking.
Melanie's a social media team and content creator for FallCon,
Definitely not.
and she's also the host of Mill's Board Game Room on YouTube. And then her and Carla are the co-host of Board Game Specialists podcast. I'm reading it because my brain doesn't work well.
Okay.
Especially when I get
You
it.
read well.
I did type that.
Yes, look at that.
I did it all. I spelled it right and everything. So she also, according to the picture, she prefers inefficient game storage, apparently.
Well, I got a new Calyx, so it's not like that anymore.
Okay.
But this is when you run out of space. You got to start doing front facing.
You have to fill in those gaps. All right. Next, we have JT Turner.
No, yes. Good job. Clapping for you, Jason.
It was a high caliber group until
You wanted to bring it down
until now.
a little bit, level it out.
Oh, that's a good shirt, that picture up there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's
Really
a nice
great.
red shirt. This is also his wife Mel up here, so it's the only good picture of him I could find because we use crappy pictures on all of our thumbnails at FOBG, so we just make
She's
fun
a
of
better
ourselves.
gamer than me, so.
He's a superb dungeon master. He works very well. And then he's also a mid to heavyweight game connoisseur. You're basically playing for second place when you play JT. That is just the way it goes. I found out this in a very real way on our live stream with Amon Ray this morning. Totally decimated, and then laughed at me. So there it is. Then there is Carla. Carla, you're going to have to pronounce your name first. Carla, I'm going to try it. Please don't hurt me if I get it wrong.
Good.
Giannudis.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yes. Game's over. Show's over. Thanks for coming over. No, I'm just kidding. She's the co-host of Board Game Specialist Podcast with Melody. She also does her own Facebook group, admin of the Red Deer Board Game Fanatics Facebook group. And she apparently enjoys standing on white buildings with a great view.
That's
so
the greatest.
that's what it was. So that is that. And then I am a content creator for FOBG. I'm Sam Healy. So thank you for joining me. I'm also...
I paid for that too.
Hey. Jeez Louise. It's been all day with these people. Anyway, no, great. That's awesome. I'm also an emissary for Love Thy Nerd. And that's really just something I like to do. Love Thy Nerd is a great group of guys and gals that run around to different conventions. They're not here, but they run around to different conventions and they just want to help out publishers and other groups of people that would need to run booths. So go check them out. They're great guys and gals. I am also a new co-host for the Board Game Spotlight podcast. Now, Derek Funkhauser and Ruel Gaviola used to do that by themselves. We revamped it, and I get to join them, so I'm pretty excited about that.
They needed muscle.
We're gonna, no. They wouldn't have called me if they needed muscle. That is absolutely true. And according to the picture, I'm eerily suspicious when I'm the subject of a selfie, even if I'm taking it. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. This is the top 5 go-to games if you're playing with new gamers. So number 5, we're going to start over on Brian, because Brian said I'm not doing it unless I get to go first.
I'm not like, you're not first, you're last.
So over there,
Yep.
going to go all the way, and then I'll be last on each one. So number 5, Brian, go for it.
My number 5 is to me, the best way to get people into a genre that doesn't have a mass market, I remember playing Risk as a kid. And that would be worker placement to me, which is one of my favorite genres. And this is not technically worker placement, it's worker movement, and it's got gorgeous art all about national parks. This is Parks, the board game. I love Parks. It's easy to teach. It's easy to teach the concepts, just collecting resources to pay for symbols. So Parks, phenomenal game. My number 5.
Well,
Great.
Brian stole my thunder.
We got crossover
My
already?
number 5 is Parks.
Wow. So is JT, so it's weird.
I love this game. It's awesome. I just wish they'd do a Canadian Parks version.
Oh.
Canadian National Parks.
Bam.
We do
Bam.
have some beautiful national parks here. But
Just
Yeah.
snow and trees, that's it. Snow and
I'll make that up.
trees.
do you see snow? You got to come down for a beautiful fall. in this
Very
country.
nice weekend for sure.
Yeah.
I only brought one
It's
jacket. I
never
was
this-
freezing.
Yeah. This is warm weather.
All right. This is where I look like a stooge yet again. I actually put you in the wrong order again, except Brian was in the wrong
I was
spot.
correct.
And
Brian was in the wrong spot.
No cheer.
When you were over here, and then I had you guys move again. So Melanie's actually going next.
Oh, there you go.
Get it.
And
You
just
just
a
wanted me out of the
reminder,
frame, is what it was.
My number 5 is Shifting Stones. Main reason, it's a super simple game to teach. And it's gorgeous on the table. You have 9 tiles, which are embossed, like almost engraved, and each side has a different color. And you have a 3x3 grid, and then you have cards, and you need to choose which card you're going to sacrifice to flip the tile or to swap the tiles. And you're trying to get these 9x9 to match a pattern that'll match the cards you didn't sacrifice to get the points. Amazing, amazing game. Beautiful, simple, but oh so satisfying in the strategies you got to come up with.
Nice.
Nice.
I need to try
Joyce,
this.
you
I think
do.
I've even heard of it.
Oh, geez, look, it's right
I
there.
see it's beautiful.
Quanchai Moria,
Yeah, it's good.
how much of his artwork is in the game, Quanchai's?
How much of the artwork?
Artwork,
You're
yeah.
seeing it all there.
No, I mean, okay,
tiles.
that's it. So it's like,
He said that's
it's
it.
the engraved tiles, or is there more?
They're like embossed,
Got it.
and then like a nice thick, chunky tile.
That's cool.
Like about this big,
The
you
game
know.
comes with 8 tiles, just
9.
like that.
9.
Oh, 9, the one that's hidden. You're good to go.
Are they embossed or debossed? Because I don't know the difference, but that's
Well, one side's embossed, the other's debossed.
Thank you. That's all that matters.
As much as
boy.
cardboard can be
Exactly right.
At least we only have 4 more to go. There we go. All right, so JT is in the best spot. He's just right in the middle. so
Right in the middle.
He's
Should I
next.
throw the switch again then?
I need to make sure you
You
get
can do
the
whatever you
slides
want. If
right.
you'd like to, I don't want to. I don't want to make you do it, but no, Brian, you stay there. This is the problem, Brian.
You stay there.
You wanted me out of frame. I knew it. That's what it was. Here, I'm going to sit over here and wait.
Ratings just went up, and we haven't even edited and published it.
Perfect. I hope so. That should be right.
All right,
No, it's
JT,
still
you're
wrong.
up. What's your number 5, JT?
All right, my number 5, I like to play with new players just for the fact that all of the interaction that goes into it. That is Mission Red Planet. Mission Red Planet is a great game to put a group of people around and just let them play with those little astronauts and try to get them up there and mess with each other's rockets. It just can really bring the table together. Yeah, and the cards and the different roles that you can take. I mean, it's pretty easy to understand, and it just works really well with new players, getting them into a board game. So it's like Parks on Mars.
Parks on Mars.
Parks on Mars.
Love
That's
it.
like another complete game.
That's right, Parks on Mission
Parks
Red
on
Planet.
Mars. Yeah. All right, Carl. You're up.
Like I said, he stole my thunder back there. Parks was my number 5.
5, yep.
So
I'm a thief.
yeah,
Are your list going to be the same?
I don't know. I kind of peeked.
so.
I kind of peeked over. I think it was just someone.
I'm the one who's got a paper one.
All right, my tag.
He mailed it in.
My number 5 is a party game. Now, I'm not a big party game person. I don't like playing party games unless I really feel like we need to play party games because that's just the vibe that the group is going. So my number 5 is a game called Green Team Wins. And this is one of the few party games that I will actually choose to play. I'll play almost anything. But if it's my choice and I feel like the vibe is going party game, this is one of the ones that I'll pull out, which is why it's on this list. It's a great game where you're trying to get onto the same team. You're trying to answer questions based on what you think everybody else is going to answer so that you're all on the same team, the green team, and you're scoring points and all of that kind of stuff. But sometimes you also want to throw a twist in there so that just some of you are on the green team, but it has to be a majority. And the rest of the people get onto the orange team, and they're not scoring points anymore. So they have to figure out the algorithm that the green team is getting to get back on the green team and try to score more points. So I think this is a great game. I also found out that playing with kids is a whole nother bag with this one.
Bad idea.
The generational or cultural gap between us and kids is too great.
Kids love to lose. What are you talking about?
Kids love to know they too.
No, my kids.
But it's still fun, but it's really fun if it's a bunch of adults playing because you're all on the same wavelength. But that's my number 5. So now we're going to move to our number 4. Ooh, we're actually in order now.
Yes.
Well,
Finally.
I don't think so.
So it's great.
We'll see.
We're not out of order.
Yeah, mine is still in order.
Okay. All right. So number 4,
You're
Brian.
All right, my number 4 is a game all about collecting stamps. And this is actually a recent pickup for me. This is Penny Black. Now, I was hesitant when I saw this because I was like, I don't collect stamps. Then again, I thought of it. I also don't farm or have a harbor in France, and those are all great games too. Yeah. So I realized that Penny Black is actually my favorite of the tile laying. It's not even a polyomino because they're all squares. And you cannot lick the back of them because they're hard plastic. But the quality of the components in this game, for the price I got it, is fantastic. It really is a great game because you're scoring on this side of your score. What do you call it? Who's a good stamp collector in here? What do you call that? That folio.
Sure.
You have scorecards on
That's
this.
a big word, man.
Look, if we
It's a
throw
big
a stone,
It's like a common
I
word.
believe
That's
it's
not even-
philately is what they call it. But philately is you collect stamps on this side, you collect stamps on this side. So you take the tiles off of a disc, kind of like Azul, and you can choose whether you want to put them on this side or this side because you're scoring on this side may preclude you from wanting to put a stamp here, so you can get it and put it over there. So you have a lot of options. It's very forgiving, but it's also very fun to get those scores as high as you can in that game. So Penny Black, very good game, number 4.
Nice.
Brian actually purchased this game hoping he could save some money on postal stamps,
No.
which is why he said that because
Yes.
that's talking from experience. He
When I
tried
was
to
trying
look
to
the back
mail
of
my
these.
top 5 list to you,
Yeah, 5 years from now, your stamps are only in museums. So.
All right, Melanie, you're number 4.
All right, my number 4 is a game from our very own publishing local here, Roxley Games,
Nice.
and that's Dice Throne.
Ooh.
So I love season 1, season 2. Marvel X-Men is coming out right away. Now it's in Kickstarter. But I find this one is just so easy to get almost anybody into it. It's a very simple game, but so satisfying with all the different characters that you can play. I put Marvel there just because who doesn't know Marvel?
True.
Right?
Even Santa and the Grinch
They
got
know
into
it.
this game earlier
Right?
today.
They played the Santa versus Krampus version. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
That Grinch, I gotta say, I am impressed.
I'm pretty sure it was the real
It's
Grinch.
hilarious.
I'm pretty sure. He was green,
He was.
right? Like
Well,
that's the dead giveaway.
He would have also liked
But he
Santa.
sounded like the Grinch as well.
He did. His
We're a
voice
little
was
bit off topic. So about dice and roll. So you got the dice, you got to roll trying to get the symbol combination to be able to activate your attack. Last man standing is the winner. Amazing game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And on top of that, most people, even non-gamers, have played Yahtzee at some point, right?
Exactly. It's a simple game to get into.
And it's got that tactile experience of rolling dice.
Right.
You're not just sitting there moving stuff on a board. You're doing something every round.
Exactly. And somebody new into it, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to lose. It's dice. It's like the great equalizer.
Yep.
Everybody's on the same level.
It's not
Unless you're playing with
Red
JT.
Planet or something.
No, no, no,
Is that JT? you're going to get shellacked.
No, that's so
He's-
wrong.
he rolls
Unless
dice.
I'm Krampus.
He likes
Krampus,
horses on rolling
In
dice.
fact, Flipside of the Board is offering the first person who beats him wins a $100 prize today. So that is a new thing.
That's being paid by the Brian Drake Show.
It's a nice collab. I like it.
Is that 100 American dollars?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like 140.
Okay.
Yes, it's good.
That's great. All right, JT, you're number 4.
My number 4, one thing I like to do in board games with new players is I like to bring them into a game that has a simple start but has the ability to grow so you can play with it multiple times. So my number 4 is Quadropolis.
Oh, good choice.
I really like Quadropolis. The chance to use the engineers to get the tiles teaches them that tile placement, teaches them that city building, teaches them some resource management with the energy and the people. It's just a really good game, and then when they like it at the base, then you can go to the more difficult, the other side of the board that has 5 districts and all that kind of stuff, so you can continue to build up those properties with them and kind of give them more of a base and different mechanics.
5 districts. There's a Butcher Bill version to that too, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Deep cut reference.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Days of Wonder is also a really
Anybody?
great
Nobody
company.
seen Days of
Yeah,
Wonder?
great
Thank
company.
you, sir.
Days of
Beautiful
Wonder is a great
components.
company, so there's a lot of titles that you can
good-looking
get
game.
into. All right,
All right, well, speaking of good-looking games, my number 4 is Azul.
Oh,
This is the base Azul. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's an abstract strategy game, plays up to 4 players. And it is like one of those games that has simple rules, but the strategy is deep. I didn't see it at first. I thought, because I do the same thing every time kind of thing. It's not in what you're building, it's what you're drafting away from people, what you're drafting for yourself. But it plays well at 2 players, 3 and 4, and it's just awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Azul, that's my number 4.
Stained Glass of Sintra is my favorite.
Is it?
Oh, really?
The second one's
Yeah.
my favorite one. The first one I couldn't grasp. Couldn't wrap my
A
head
little too
around it.
difficult for him, you know.
I was just about to say.
How was Queensguard then?
Good, you've
My
played it.
favorite game is Blood Rage.
I know.
You didn't like that one?
I didn't
Which
like
one?
it.
The 4th one?
I tried to be nice. JT threw me out there. So
I
thank
didn't,
you.
you
Appreciate
threw
it.
yourself out there. I just grabbed on.
Yep. All
Try
right.
to pull you back in.
That's a good pick, though. All right. My number 5 is a game that's the original version of the game is based on all of the classic monsters like Dracula and the Mummy and all of that kind of stuff. It's called Horrified.
Yep.
But my
Nice.
favorite version of the game is called American Monsters.
Yeah, I like that one.
And because these are the monsters that we all kind of grew up, or at least hearing about, Bigfoot and what is that thing down in the southeast called
Capybara.
Chupacabra?
Yeah, Mothman.
Capybara's a real animal.
The cool thing about this is that first of all, it's a cooperative game.
Yeah.
So you're all trying to keep these monsters from invading this city and killing a bunch of people. You're trying to get these people. You're trying to solve the crimes or solve the mysteries and all that kind of stuff behind the legends that everybody's talking about these things, and you're doing it cooperatively.
Well,
So.
Sorry, but I was going to say, each monster's different the way you beat them. too.
Yes,
That's what's great.
You stole my thunder. Thank you, Brian.
I thought you were tailing off.
Joining in.
So that's the second really big point that I was going to make, and it's fine. It's cool that he made it because it is one of the big selling points. Each of the different monsters have a completely different mystery that you have to solve,
And each of the different
that's what's
monsters
cool
has a
about it.
different mystery that you have to solve.
And each of them.
This is the first and last time we have Brian Drake on the show. Thank you, everyone.
It was an audition, and I failed.
Indeed.
Horrified is a great game. Really, either or will do great, but my favorite version is American Monsters. So, number 3, Brian, go ahead.
So, leading off Sam talking about party games, I actually really love party games because we have multiple groups. I'm kind of the go-to guru of the different groups that we have, and I pick which group I want over to determine which types of game we're going to play. And the party game group is the easiest one to get to my house, which is why Just One is my favorite, not only number 3 here, easy to get people in, but it's my favorite party game of all time because I've literally played this with so many new people. We had a show at a college a few months ago, and I had padded my bag on this tour we were on, and they were just out playing cards. And so, well, guys, we got to try this game. And I set them down, taught them the rules in 10 seconds, and we played it and had a blast. It is such a good game. You're all on the same team. I know it probably means you're out, but you can sabotage if you want. It's okay. That's not part of the rules. You just can. But it's a great party game. I really love it. I'm sure there's a copy over there. Get a group, and you will have a blast playing this.
The opposite of green team wins.
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're all on the same team, folks.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And if this had been a top 10, this would have been
On there.
Yeah.
This would have been on there because very much the same as what Brian just said. Every single time we go to a board game night, this is one of the ones that always comes in the
Yes.
Yes.
Always does.
Same.
Yeah, great pick. For
All
sure.
right, Melanie.
All right, my number 3 is Cascadia because it is such an easy game to learn. You draw a tile, you draw a token, and then you put the token on a tile that has a matching symbol. That's it.
Not if you don't know how to score the condors correctly. Let me just tell you that.
Well, maybe might not win, but that's it.
That's just you.
But then there is deep strategy behind it because you're trying to get your tiles to create the largest clusters of the same element, or what's the proper term for this?
Biome.
Sure.
It's
Sure.
a biome. Yep.
Yes, that. I'm French.
Fun.
Habitat, yes. And then
Habitat, biome.
each animals that you're placing, the tokens, all have a different rules. But then depending on the game, like it changes every game as well. So it is very deep, simple game.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Very cool. I just bought Landmarks. My wife loves this game. So
Yeah.
Is Landmarks different? I saw them both sitting out. They're not
It looks
expensive.
good.
It adds
It
5 and
has more
6,
cards.
and adds a couple of
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
new things.
I think it's just basically more of the same,
Got it.
Yeah.
but it's more.
And it adds
Cascadia.
landmarks.
It adds landmark tiles that takes space.
And the Landmarks. Yeah.
Animal tiles. So.
Cool.
And you can have more habitat per tile, from what I understand. Yeah. I
That's
haven't
true.
tried it
They have
yet.
All right,
3
Cascadia,
habitat tiles.
number 3. JT.
My number 3 is, I guess, my party game that I don't play party games. No, sometimes I play party games. But it's my party game, it's my family game. If you're going to come in with somebody's family, I like to get this out. This is Detective Club. Detective Club is very fun, social deduction, looking at pictures, trying to decide, what clues or what. I don't know how to exactly explain the game, but it's one of those. It's like Mysterium or Obscurio or one of those. This one I like the best out of those games. It gives you a really good vibe of getting everybody together and chatting about what's on those pictures.
That's cool. I didn't even know about this game until JT showed it to me, and our family loves it as well. So it's. I prefer Obscurio, which is why it didn't make this list. But again, Obscurio isn't on my top 5. It's a little. It's just not this list. That's all it is. But it's good for new players. It's just not go-to.
Wow, that's shade. You hear that? That was friendly shade.
I heard it.
Yeah, your list is not as
But
good as mine.
Obscurio sucks, so I don't know what to say.
Man.
All right. Well, my number 3 is kind of a party game. I consider small card games party games in our kind of group. They get played at the end of the night, or if it's just family, and that's kind of what we do. And we kind of grew up playing trick-taking games and whatnot. This is like a ladder climbing shedding game, and this is Scout.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Scout to me is the best of that genre. I don't know if you've all played. You probably have. You will probably call it a different name, but I've played the heck out of the game called President, which I was so sick of. My kids want to play it. Everybody wants to play it. I finally found games that are better, and this is one of them. And so with this one, you have a hand of cards that as soon as you get them, they're in a certain order. You can't adjust them. You can decide at the top if you want, okay, I want this side. If not, you flip them completely over to the other side, and then you could use that. And you're going to just play runs and sets, and you're just trying to beat the person before you, if you can, or the person before them.
No.
And there is one time where you can scout a card. So if you can't beat them, you can pull a card off of what they've just played and add it anywhere in your hand to make a better, juicier hand. It's awesome, and I think it's so much better than our old games that we
it's
used to
super
play.
fun. Yeah.
And that's Scout, my number 3.
Cool. My number 3 is a pirate game
What?
called Jamaica.
Oh,
Nice.
It's called a pirate game called Jamaica, and this has probably some of the best artwork that I've seen in a long time. Now, this has been out for a while, but it's still really great artwork. With all of the great artwork that we have in games now, this still stands up really tall. And one of the cool things about it is that all of the cards that you get, you can put them end to end and make an entire mural out of it.
Yeah.
So it's a really neat thing. It's a simultaneous action
Somebody
selection.
had way too much time on their hands.
What? Yeah, I didn't
What's
know
that?
Somebody had way too much time on their hands.
Yeah, well, I mean, the artist designed it,
I know.
so he's getting paid for it, so it's, might as well, right?
I think
But the reason that this is a go-to for me is because
No.
it's a race game.
Get this gosh dang.
So you're racing around the island of Jamaica. You each take on you're the captain of a pirate ship, and you're racing around the island of Jamaica. And as you're doing that, you're able to stop and shoot at the other people and try to take some of the stuff that's on their ship. And you're just basically trying to get the most points by the time the game ends. The game ends when somebody gets all the way around the board. But gold is points. A lot of different cards that are in the game are worth points at the end of the game. So it's just a really neat, fun game, and it looks great as well. So that's one of the big things. I'm big on aesthetics, and it has to look good. So that's my number 3, Jamaica.
choice.
Good. Yeah.
All right.
My number 2 is, I did a top 100 for the Dice Star a few years ago. This was, I believe, in my top 10 games of all time. So not only keeping to the theme of which games have I had success getting new people into the hobby with, this is always one that we try to bring at every game night, every new thing where we don't even know there's going to be games there. It's a drafting game, but it's a dinosaur drafting game. This is Draftosaurus. It is one of my favorite games of all time, and
That's
I've
amazing.
never lost. That's not true.
Really?
No, that's not true. I've never lost.
All right, let's go put it on the table.
Challenge. Another $100 bet.
That's right. That's right.
I can win that one. I
Brought to you by the Dice Tower.
Oh, man. Just making everybody pay for his stuff.
Good, Jason. But Draftosaurus is so much fun. It's so easy to teach. Hey, draft a dinosaur out of here, pass it to the next person. Here's what this space can do. Here's what this space can do.
Yeah.
Make the best of it. And you can flip it over and play both sides. Apparently, the expansions are not that great, and I don't know, but I just like the original so much. Draftosaurus, my number 2 pick.
It's an
It's a good
amazing
pick.
game.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, my number 2. First of all, I have 4 kids in my household between the age of 13 and 18. So we don't play a lot of games because I'd much rather play video games. I talked my oldest into playing Splendor. And he's like, oh, I don't want to play it. And then we played it, and at the end, he's like, this one was good. Right?
Totally.
First of all, components, you got those poker chips, very satisfying to play with. Super simple. Collect gems, spend gems to buy cards that's going to be permanent gems, and you just build up from that. And then the first one to 16 points is the winner. Super simple, but fun, satisfying game to play.
Have you played the Marvel one?
Yes.
I love the Marvel one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Right on.
All right, JT, number 2.
My number two is a crossover.
Hey, thanks,
right over here
man.
with Melanie.
Oh.
No, it would be Cascadia.
Oh.
Cascadia is one of those games, like you said, it's easy to get at the table. It's easy to understand drafting those pairs and kind of making those patterns. And everybody gets to see as they build this thing up. The other cool thing is, again, like my other game, you get to change up the scoring cards for them, so they start to see how to make those different mechanics work and everything. But it's a fun game.
Yeah.
Everybody in the world should play Cascadia.
Everybody
I
in
agree.
the world.
The world,
The
not
world.
just here.
Yeah, not just here.
Spread the word.
Awesome.
All right, Carla.
All right, my number 2 is a tile laying game, cardboard tile, but it's Tetris, but it's building bear parks.
Yeah.
This is Bear Park. I love this game.
PWH.
I love Tetris. Who has not ever played Tetris? Everybody knows Tetris. How satisfying it is to connect them and make a box, basically. And
Make it sound so good.
It's all about making a
it's
box.
just,
Make it a box.
I can't get enough of it. But no, it's
Bear box the game.
Now you know why we have so
You're
many
building-
cardboard factories.
Exactly. It's the box and the Tetris part of it. It's so fun.
It is.
You are just building up your little I think they're actually rectangles. And once you complete one, then you get to put a little what is it, like a statue that you put on it, and then you get to build out more of them. And these little bear tiles are different types, like polar bears, koala bears, and they're just so cute. And they have like an expansion that has the monorails, so you're like connecting all those monorails up.
Yeah.
But just the base game is awesome, and it's so easy to learn and easy to teach. And for a polyomino tile laying game, this is my favorite one. Very good.
That's great. It's a great game. Great game. Very good. My number 2. I've had this game for so long. I can't. Well, I could if I really wanted to, but it would be boring for you. I could figure out when I had it. But I've had this game for so long. I think I've gone through 2 copies of it.
Oh, wow.
Because we played it so much. But that is called For Sale.
Nice.
For Sale is, and to further give credence to this, we actually played For Sale over here, and we weren't new gamers, but we still had a great time playing it. And it's just a simple game where you're basically going through the first half of the game is you're bidding on properties with with a finite amount of money, and you have to make that last. If you have anything left over after the first round, that's actually going to be points at the end of the game for you. But you're buying properties in the first round. In the second round, you're just simply selling those properties for as much money as you possibly can. But it's all kind of an auction bidding type thing, and it's really, really easy, and it's super fun. A lot of the times, maybe 2 rounds into the game, or 2 phases, I guess, into the game, you see the light bulb click on it, and the new player goes, oh, I get this. This is nice. I like it. And this also is usually a game that after you get through playing it once, they're like, let's try that again. Because now I know what I'm doing. It's that kind of thing. So this is a great game for building that confidence, because a lot of new players, I've talked to a lot of people that are simply intimidated by the number of games that come out every year and the kinds of games that come out every year. And this is the kind of game where you can show people, look, it's not all Feast for Odin, it's not all Ark, it's not all Earth, it's also stuff like this, and it can be really fun. So that's why it's my number 2. It's just that light bulb moment for me is the best.
Before we go to number 1, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Please?
Yes.
Please.
With only 1 pick left, how are you going to get Memoir 44 and Blood Rage onto this list?
Those aren't new player games.
Okay, I'm just checking.
You got to grow into those.
Right.
Although we did have a Blood Rage tournament yesterday,
With 3
and a
or
guy
more players.
learned how to play. I taught him. I'm not saying anything, but
I did not win.
and he actually ended up tying me in the championship game, and
Which means you both lose if you tie,
That's
correct?
right.
I'm just saying.
Exactly
So,
right.
not to steal Travis's joke,
you and Melanie need to stop paying people off. Is what you need to stop doing.
It didn't pay off for me. I was
Uh-huh.
1 point away from being laughed. But I had fun.
That's it. But I
Fun
had
game.
fun.
That's it. All right.
All right, my number 1, just a couple honorable mentions. I was thinking, as you said, that would be like Bonanza and Sagrada were on my list of games that we played a ton with new people. But my number 1 is Twilight Imperium 4th. No, it's not.
That is not.
My number 1 is a game, and I've gone more simplistic, but that's not an indictment of what you need to do when you play new games with people. This is a very simple game. It is a re-implementation of another game, but I like this theme so much better, and it's so easy to get to the table. This is Marvel Remix. It is a re-implementation of
Great
Fantasy
game.
Realms. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
It is such
It
a
is a
great,
great
game.
game.
All you're doing is you have a hand of 7 cards the whole time, and ability. You will draw a card and discard a card. And every single time you draw a card, you go, oh, I need that card. And you go, but that means I got to get rid of one of these cards. And you're trying to make the best hand because everything keys off of each other at the end. It sounds like it's complicated the one saying it, but once you get into people's hands, they go, oh, yeah, I get this. Boom, here's my hand, and I got 184 points or whatever.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, Marvel Remix, my number 1. There's a couple copies for sale. You can pick it up or play it in the library, but it's great.
Nice.
Troy didn't even ask me to say that, but I'm just saying it's one of my favorites.
That's a good pick.
Yeah. My number 1 is a great game to get somebody into the hobby because this is the one that got me in the hobby. So I'm proof that this
It works.
It works. You can get out of control in no time. So, and that's Lords of Waterdeep.
Choice.
I was just so impressed the first time I played this one. Just collecting the different cubes for the resources to be able to fill your quest and then get those points. And then when somebody gives you freaking mandatory quests,
Yeah.
that
Here, go
breaks
do
everything
this.
else. But the worker placement aspect of it, like it's a great game to build up like that next level, but still be really accessible and manageable, it's an amazing game. Actually, I introduced new people to it just last month, and I think they all went out and bought it. So,
Yeah.
and they're all local to my village, which is good because then they're going to become out of control just like me. And I just built a group, local group.
Now she
just
has
like
somebody
that.
to sell to.
Right? No, don't do that.
I know.
My games are for life.
She doesn't sell it.
I know.
Wait, y'all use the word village up here?
Yeah, I was
That's
just
what
going to
I thought.
say.
Village, I heard that. I
I
won't
do
say
too,
nothing.
and that's awesome. I wish we used it more down
600
below.
But it's actually a village.
Huh?
650 people live in the village of Acme.
And y'all have 3 copies of Lords of Waterdeep?
Exactly.
That's impressive.
And 2 copies of the crew. They're good to go.
No, this is for real. She lives in a village of 650 people.
Yeah.
I live in a city of, I think, 200,000. She finds more gamers in this village and sets up a community than I can get together in the city of Red
The
Deer.
trick is conversion.
Conversion.
Is that brainwashing or
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
a little bit of bribery?
Yeah, we're going to play Lords of Waterdeep. Put these electrodes on your
Exactly.
All right, JT.
All right, for my number one, I do have an honorable mention and really should be on this list sometimes because I seem to bring out with a lot of new players Cthulhu Death May Die, but that's not my number one. It happens a lot. If you ever bring somebody over and you're like, hey, you want to jump in this scenario and try to beat up Cthulhu, everybody has a good
I
time.
do.
Well, that's how Mansions of Madness is, too.
Yeah.
It really is.
But that's not my number one. My number one is another crossover, and that is a Zool.
Ah,
Zool
all
is a
right.
great game.
I knew we were buddies.
Yeah, especially for the fact that you can bring Azul number one to the table, you can play it with them, then you can bring stained glass to the table, a little bit different. You can bring, what's the third one called? What can I think of it?
Summer
Pavilion.
Summer
Summer
Pavilion.
Pavilion to the table, and then when you really want to make gamers out of them, you put Queen's Garden on the table.
And then there's chocolate for a little
I
spice.
haven't done chocolate yet,
It's
but
not much different than the first one.
but yeah, that has that nice progression. So they know how to
Yeah.
play Azul. Now they get to learn more and more and more. So
Teach them how to get angry at games as you progress upwards. Too, yes.
that's Cthulhu Death May Die.
Gamer angst is a thing. You have to
Very much so.
let them all in, you know? All right, Carly.
All right, so my number one is the one that I thought of whenever I have, people come over and they're like, okay, let's just play a game. And then, you panic right away. I've got so many. What do I go choose? Do I grab a pile of 10 games and then freak them out?
Yeah, don't
Or
let them
what do I
win,
do?
right?
So the first one that comes to mind to me is called Dice Miner. I love dice. Dice don't always love me. They usually don't love me, but this one is awesome because you were just piling up all these dice on this mountain and you're just drafting them.
Ooh.
And it sounds simple and how is that fun? But you're drafting these dice and you take one at a time. Unless you have a beer dice, then you get to roll it to somebody and you grab 2. And then at the end of the round, they score in all different kinds of ways. So you're either scoring runs or you're trying to if you have dragons or comets, I call them, but they're actually
They're boulders.
boulders.
Right.
They look like comets. And so if you have the protection like a shield and a shovel, then they turn into positive points instead of negative. Then you have some magic dice that will let you re-roll things so that you can turn them into other things. You have just plain gems on them. And so then once you do that, you take all the dice you had, re-roll them all, unless you had some treasure chests, you can keep some. And they sit there.
Confusing, that's all I'm saying.
And they sit there, and then you draft. You fill up the mountain again, and you redraft. So your points just keep piling up from round to round. There's 3 rounds. At the end, you have all these dice and tons of points, and it's just so fun. I mean, if you started out with Yahtzee or something, this is so much better.
Oh, yeah.
It's just so
Is that
fun.
here? Because I would like to try that.
I think so. I'll play it with you.
That sounds right up
We'll
my
play
alley.
it.
And at that point, you've strip mined half the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the game with it, like this one, the table presence, because this is a 3D
Yeah,
stand-up
that's good.
mountain that the dice builds up on. It looks amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
that-
And the
that
dice are all
sounds-
different colors
Yeah.
and things.
Dwarves at the bottom of the mountain have to move because their water's poisoned now.
Yeah.
I
Anyway, that is
Dave's
my
back.
Game is a jar.
Yeah.
that's my number one.
Dice.
Dice
Cool.
Miner.
Dice Miner is
Yeah.
great. That sounds good. All right, my number one is a game called King Domino.
Yeah.
King Domino, I've met and lived around a lot of people that grew up playing dominoes. And so usually if they want to play another kind of game, this is something that I will bring out right off the bat because it has that domino-esque pattern laying thing. You're just trying to build up your kingdom by placing these different tiles that have two halves on them. One is usually one kind of land, and the other half is a different kind of land. Sometimes it's all one kind of land, but you're trying to build out your different lands and score as many points based on how many sections are there and how many, gold pots or something like that, gold coins, I can't remember. No,
Those are crowns.
Crowns.
Those are crowns.
How many crowns? The crowns are a multiplier. So if you have a section of 5 wheat fields and it has 2 crowns in it, then you multiply those 5 tiles by 2 crowns and you get 10 points for that section. You add up all the other points from those other kinds of terrains, and that's how many points you have at the end of the game. After you get bonus points if you have your castle right in the exact middle of your kingdom. You get other points for completely filling in your kingdom and all that kind of stuff. But it's a really basic concept, and it works really well. I've had people that like you said with Lords of Waterdeep. I've had people play this, and the next time I saw them, hey, I bought that game that we played. It's just the way it goes, and it's one of those things where it's just so familiar, people grab onto it really fast.
You're saying you build your kingdom with dominance. You're saying.
That's right. I like it.
It's a good name. Well, I love this game. I love this game a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Just the way he said it, he's like, you build your kingdom with tiles. I was like, come on, you missed such an opportunity right there.
I'm not a public speaker, Brian. I don't have my own company. Yeah, I do. But I don't call it the Sam Healy Show.
The Sam Healy Show. Come on.
All right. Well, that is our top 5 go-to games. Thank you for joining us. We certainly appreciate it.